Yeah, she can't stand it. She told me she needs the other sense too stressed out.
Because it's toy by accident.
Sally on Sunday.
Sally? What happened?
You're talking
Oh.
Is they here?
Oh my God.
Shortly after we observed Shiva in Israel, we came back to America. A week or so later, my wife had come home one night and said, "Oh, we must go see this movie." I said, "We're going to go see a movie? I hate going to movies." He says, "No, it's a movie about Shiva." I said, "A movie about Shiva? Okay, maybe I'll go." And we went to this movie, and the name of the movie is "This Is Where I Leave You." And when I sat in the movie, I thought it was eerily similar to the events that had just transpired a few weeks earlier in Israel, where we had sat Shiva. And there, all of us came into my mom's apartment, and sure enough, as the lights turned off, my mother had her daughter next to her in bed once again. My brother Heshi and Mitchell were in the bedrooms back together again. And I was in the third bedroom by myself.
No, you were not. You lying. Tell
I was by myself.
Tell the truth.
Some nights I got
You don't want to say why he was alone. Someone sit down.
We did argue and fight. I thought the whole thing was going to be just for 7 days. I found out it was for 30 days, and I found all these halachas I didn't even know about. But one of the things I did notice watching this family dynamics over the course of that week, over that really 4 days, is that my mother was actually enjoying being the mother hen again. And that she had her children surrounded with her, by her, and actually, though she has endured a tremendous amount of pain over the past years, I saw her actually enjoy having her children once surrounded by her. Ma, I know you have gone through a lot, and we all love you, and I want you to know, though, you're opinionated in your love, okay? We do know that your support is unconditional, and we thank you for that.
Favorite child? Everybody heard that?
Yeah, it was very quiet.
My brother Heshi had called me last night, and when you deal with Heshi and dynamics and family, he said, you have to speak, and I said, okay, I didn't really prepare anything, and he goes, oh, why don't you give the eulogy you gave at the Levaya? I said, I don't even know where that is. How am I going to find it? How am I going to remember? He said, no, you'll put it together.
What do people remember?
That's right. And I will shortly go ahead and recant the eulogy.
Recant?
No. You can recount it.
You can recount.
I said recount.
No.
Recant.
Be nice. He didn't have a father growing up.
However, before However, before I go over that, I repeat to you.
What are you laughing at?
Tough crowd.
I want you to all imagine a yellow cab sitting in Manhattan at the corner of Wall Street and Waters and Wall Street. And in that cab was an employee of Heshi's, a rabbi. In the back of this cab, the rabbi had come into the city to give Marc some money. And as the rabbi was giving Marc the money, 100, 200, 500, 1,000, counting it out, Marc took the money in the middle of this transaction, threw it back into the rabbi's lap, jumped out of the yellow cab, ran across Water Street, up Wall Street.
Don't say what he said
tackled a gentleman who had just ripped off a purse from a lady. As he tackled the guy to the ground, he started pummeling the guy and hitting him. And within seconds, people were surrounding him, and the police showed up and arrested this guy. And suddenly, surrounding Marc with all these people clapping and going hooray. And I remember the next day the rabbi came to me and goes, this is unbelievable. Here I am, I came into the city to help this guy who seemingly can't get across the street on a regular day or get through life on a regular basis, giving him money, and I'm helping him out, and the next thing, he's a hero across the street. And he said to me, I just couldn't believe it. Here he was. And when you think about it, that was Marc. He lived in these two worlds, where he couldn't get across the street or through life on one day, or he was a hero surrounded by people. When one experiences the sight of a comet racing across the sky, what we see is a rock hitting the Earth's atmosphere. And this force causes the rock to heat up into a ball of fire. My brother Mark was clearly a comet racing across this world from the day he was born. And today, we came here and it landed this comet in Yahretziet. And what a fitting resting place for him. Thank you, Mom, once again, for giving Mark this incredible gift of a lifetime to be buried in Yahretziet. Words certainly did not describe Mark. It was more his stories and the actions. In fact, even his name. I remember that when Mark was a child and he found out that Menachem Begin had become the Prime Minister of Israel, Mark started going by the name Menachem. Okay? In fact, he was extremely proud of it. From Mark's vantage point of life was so unique. As a child, he asked my dad all the time for a dog. And finally, one day, my father gave in and brought home this ugly mutt, a mutt of mutt. And sure enough, Mark was holding the dog. I remember he was sitting in the living room, and Mark looked at the mutt, and he said, "I have the perfect name, Mazel." And we called this dog Mazel. Sure enough, a couple of years later, Mark wanted another dog, and we went to Far Rockaway to somebody's house, and Mark pulled out a ruler. And my father goes, "What are you doing with the ruler?" He says, and mind you, they didn't have Google back then. Mark said, "I had read that if you measure the paws of a baby dog, the larger the paw, the bigger the dog's going to be, and I want the largest dog." And he went through the litter, every single dog, writing it down, the size of the paw. And Mark, sure enough, named that dog Gibor. As Mark's younger brother, Mark always felt that he would have to show me life on his terms. Of course, he was my older brother. One night on the way home from high school, we get off the bus and we're surrounded in the Rockaways by 10 guys who all want to beat us up. And my brother Mark navigates to explain to all of them, it's not fair, 10 versus 2. He says, "Why don't you give me the biggest bully you have and he'll go up against me." And sure enough, within 30 seconds, they were hand fighting. Mark broke the guy's nose, and then we started chasing them away as they ran away. Mark lived life, but he lived it on his terms. Menachem, as he liked to be called, also had what I would call, and many of you know, was holy chutzpah. Okay? One day, he brought me this young, sweet girl and promised me that from all the girls that were there, that this was the sweetest and best girl, and that's, of course, my wife, Danielle. When I tell my boys and my children the stories, they say to me, "How did he know?" And I say, "That was Mark. That's how we did things." Obviously, you cannot mention Menachem without his brother Heshi. Heshi was not just a brother, a father, a friend, a lawyer, a doctor, you name it, Heshi was it. Okay? No, I did forget Mitchell.
Remember, you don't want to be the one not sitting at the table. He's not here.
We all thank you, Heshi, for your time and dedication and the love you gave him. I would sometimes always say that you actually loved it and it showed. Menachem lived a different type of life. He loved his father dearly and he missed him. Menachem, Mamish, now you're home. I find it fitting that the week that Mark passed away was Pashas V'Eschanan, and in that week's Pasha sums up best, I think, the way Mark would have liked to end it. Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Now you're home with your father, an eternal resting place. So again, I thank you all for coming to commemorate the Yahrzeit of my brother, and we should only be together in good times. Thank you.
Amen.